I think that like they did such a brilliant job in this, kind of taking all of these kind of stories
Yeah.
about rock bands and kind of dramatizing them. I mean, just things that pop out for me is the Nigel with like the food plate backstage
Mm-hmm.
where he's just angry because the bread is too small and he can't make a sandwich with it.
Oh yeah.
And he's really mad because some of the olives have a little guy, like a pimento, and some of them have no guy.
That's. I mean.
And Marty DeBurgi, which is Rob Reiner, is trying to explain to him that you can fold the meat and make it the right size for the bread. And Nigel just keeps folding the bread. You can't fold it because it breaks. And he can't, he's like just sick about it. And it's just like all these stories that you hear about these bands with these ridiculous riders and their contracts.
Well, that's a big thing. Like I remember a million years ago when I used to do improv, there was, if I'm unless I'm making this up, but I'm pretty sure there was something in the contract that was very specific so that you could tell if the contract had been read or not.
Yeah, that was, I think, the Van Halen thing.
Yeah, okay, yes, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Van Halen, red M&Ms, right?
Something like that.
It was like no red
or
M&Ms.
no brown M&Ms or no something like that. It was something like that. And
Very specific.
it sounded ludicrous, but then the supposed explanation was if they didn't get that right, then that was kind of a visual
Yes.
cue that they probably didn't read your contract at all.
Yeah, that was it. So I mean, Van Halen. I mean, that's.
Well, who knows if that was them or if that was their manager or whatever, but
Did they have that in Spinal Tap as well? Because I almost thought that the bread thing was in their contract. Or again, is that another creation of
there
John?
was something in that scene that was like in the contract, and that's what he was kind of furious about.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was very funny.
It was great because it's so stupid. It's so small, in the grand scheme of things. But again, if people think, hey, you didn't know that, then you don't know anything that we asked for.
Yeah. Well, and then what else scenes are in this? Like the when they're trying to do the album release party, and their A&R person is there, which is Fran Drescher playing Bobby Fleckman.
Yeah.
And she's brilliant
Mm-hmm.
because she's like nice and friendly, but she's also like completely no BS.
Yeah.
And, she's explaining to them, like, you're not going to be able to have this album released because they want to have this horrible photo of a naked woman on all fours with a leash.
Jeez,
and, like, a man's hand in her face. And the album's called Smell the Glove.
It's really awful.
And they're sitting there trying to explain to these guys that that's inappropriate and it's degrading. And they're just like, well, I don't think so. I mean...
That's great. Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't understand what the big hubbub is.
No, they don't get it at all.
And then their Ian, which is their manager, ends up kind of backdoor agreeing just to have this album be completely black with nothing on it, but he doesn't tell them. So then when the album arrives and they open it and see that it's just completely black, it's not good. It doesn't go over.
No, it's not well received at all. They thought it would be, well, because in that scene, the White Album comes out.
Yes.
And you're like, people are like, the White Album, that wasn't anything. That was just a White Album cover, and that was great.
Yeah.
And then, as we all know, it was supposed to be a naked picture of John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
And then they went another way.
So it's really just exactly that. I mean, and there's been other bands that had trouble with album covers after that, after Spinal Tap.
Poison, Open Up and Say Ah, The Big Tongue.
Yeah, well, also, Appetite for Destruction was supposed to have this painting on it, which is on the inside sleeve.
Yep.
But it depicts like a person, like, I'm not going to say, but
it's
like
awful.
Harsh.
I don't think it's needed.
I'm not like pretending this is some great thing. I'm just saying that like that's what they wanted on the cover. Axl Rose wanted it on the cover, and they were like, "No, you can't do this."
Well, when we go back to the actual scene in Spinal Tap, the first thing that Ian says to Bobby Fleckman, and he thinks he's really great, is he's because it's a glove that's in her face, and he goes, "Well, I got to tell you, at first it wasn't a glove they were shoving in her face." Jeez.
Which is undoubtedly true. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
like, these people just, I don't know, they come up with all these ideas
It's
and
yeah, it's just stuff that I don't.
just being hardcore
Yeah.
about it. Oh my gosh, that scene is really funny. I do like it when they get the album that's completely black and, like, you know, Ian's like trying to sell it, like that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then Derek starts like looking at it, is like, it kind of looks like leather, you know. He's like kind of trying to go with it, but of course David is there with his girlfriend, and she's like, you know, really negative about it, and David's like, it looks like death. It's so negative. It's very funny, and it's just a struggle you can even see parallels with other band stories in real life.
Well, doesn't Nigel say something like, "It's just so black. It's so black."
Yeah. He's
So-
always like very low key about things, but that I think is why I like the food scene, because he was so disgusted and he never really gets that worked up. Although he is excited about the turning it to 11, and
Turning. We got to talk about turning it to 11.
yeah, it's one more. He's like trying to explain to Marty that their amps go up to 11, and Marty is like, well, I mean, you know, why don't you just, you know, go up one more and make 10 the highest? And he's like, because these go to 11. Like, how much better is it? It's one better. You know, that's one of my favorite jokes. That's the Kids on the Hall joke again later. They, you know, where they were selling an organ, and they had an organ called the Gimmel 80, and now they have the Gimmel 100. It's like, how much better is the Gimmel 100? It's 20 better. And this is the same. Why would we turn it up to 10? These go to 11. It's one better.
Well, we also have on IMDb, this is the only movie, this is Spinal Tap is the only movie that instead of being rated on a scale from 1 to 10 is rated on a scale from 1 to 11.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't see? Yeah, if you take a
No.
look, it's 11. Yeah.